Why does the Bible use the phrase, a shadow of things to come? If you look at the ground and you see your shadow cast upon it, the shadow is there because it's a reflection of your presence, created by the light shining on you. So in the Bible, the sacrificial laws and rituals were a shadow of Christ. They were not the ultimate reality, but they pointed towards a greater truth and fulfillment found in Jesus Christ. Just as a shadow indicates the presence of an object, the sacrificial laws indicated the need for a perfect sacrifice, which was fulfilled in Christ. This was the greatest object lesson before the coming of Christ. This is what taught the people what the Messiah would do. So why wasn't the moral law a shadow of the cross? Well, the moral law was not a shadow because the moral law defines sin, right? Adam and Eve transgressed the moral law of God. Before they transgressed the law, there was no need for a sacrifice. This is why the law is not a shadow. The moral law cannot be a shadow of the cross because there was no need for Christ to die before the moral law was transgressed. Before they transgressed the law, sin had not yet entered the earth, meaning Christ didn't need to pay our penalty. This is why the sacrificial law came about. This is why it was added. It was added because of transgressions. So this is why the yearly feasts came about. The yearly Sabbaths came about in addition to the seventh-day Sabbath. Before sin, God blessed the Sabbath day. He set it apart. He made it holy. He called it the Lord's Day, the Sabbath of the Lord your God. So you can imagine on the first Lord's Day ever created, that He created to spend with mankind. He spent with Adam and Eve, showing them all that He had created. As a matter of fact, they were created on the sixth day after all the living creatures. So after God created every space and filled it with life, He created the sky and the sea, the land, and now comes the very pinnacle of God's creation. God creates man, who was created different than all other living things. And since they were created on the sixth day, you can imagine that their first full day wasn't on the sixth day because they were created on the sixth. But the first full day was the seventh day, the Sabbath, when He spends the entire day with man. So you can see the Sabbath isn't a shadow of the cross because there was no sin at this point, right? We don't know how long it was before Adam and Eve fell, but we do know that the Sabbath is the memorial that God is our creator. And God didn't want us to forget that. It is because man has forgotten their creator that atheism exists. Had mankind remembered the Sabbath day, paused from their own pleasures, and honored God as their creator, atheism would die. There wouldn't be atheism. Now, brethren, here's the problem. In the last days, when Satan appears as Christ, there will be no more atheists. Everyone will believe in God. The problem is they will be worshiping and believing Satan to be God. There will be two kinds of people in the last days. Those who worship God, the creator of all things, and receive symbolically His seal in their forehead, keeping His commandments and walking in His ways, and those who worship the beast and receive his mark and worship him on his Sunday and follow his commands and walk in His ways. Which one are you going to be?